So, she's won the last 2 Euros, but she's also made the 2 finals in the World Cup as well. And she mentioned being a trailblazer, or how the players are trailblazers. She is a trailblazer in her own right, Kaz, as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there, to be in the final of the last 4 major tournaments is incredible, and we spoke about it at the weekend. To go and find a manager of that calibre, I don't think you'll find one as better as Sarina Wiegman. She is, and you're right, she's a trailblazer, and what she's done particularly for football in England for the women's game has been phenomenal, and it's incredible how she's done it. And like I said, we're privileged and honoured to have her, and we have to trust everything that she does for this tournament.
It's quite difficult to change the culture of football, especially in this country, isn't it? And especially when you're talking about women's football.
Yeah, and what she's helped do is normalise it. You know, go back to the start of this competition where we were talking about team selection. Would that have happened 3-4 years ago? I don't think it would have been. It would have been, this is the team, we move forward. But we were questioning certain things. And we've normalised it. I mentioned it about little girls and playground chat for little boys as well. We've normalised women's football now, and she's done that. And she's made us win a first major trophy since 1966 and got us to another Women's World Cup final. So what she's done is incredible. She's done legacy stuff for us, and I really hope that we can do it again for selfish reasons, for the good of the women's game in England.
She is a manager who knows how to tinker, how to play around with a team when it needs to be changed, and we've seen her go on and win Euros after doing things like that. She had a little bit of a disruptive build-up with players that have either withdrawn or big players, legacy players that we've now seen leave the England camp. Is that all in the past now? Is that challenge over?
I think so, but also don't forget, in the Women's World Cup finals we had disruption, we had players injured, and she had to change shape and formations. And you look at other teams, you know, look at Bon Mati on the eve of the tournament, that's disruption. So look, I think what's happened was, you know, has happened. It's not ideal, it's not the controllables that she's probably used to, but those players that aren't there, we wish them all the best and all the health and happiness. But a line has been drawn in the sand, and unfortunately, football does move on and pretty quick. This is the group. She's the manager. She's got to lead this group at this tournament. Yeah. So we start on Saturday.
And here's the group that group are in. Jane, have a little look at this, because as we said earlier on, pretty tricky group, really. Here are the fixtures that England are going to be up against. So France is the one that's going to kick it off. Very difficult to start. Then you've got Netherlands, of course, and then it finishes off with Wales, and who knows what position both teams are going to be in by that stage. It doesn't get much more difficult, does it, really, when you look at those teams?
No, it's one heck of a group, isn't it? Look, from a Welsh perspective, we are so pleased to be in a finals tournament. That doesn't mean the girls are going to roll over. You know, every single game that they step on the grass for, they are going to compete. Now, what is there to compete for when that third game comes round? Who knows? Who knows? Because you're right, that group, as people have said, is a group of death when you look at the calibre of the teams there, and obviously us as the underdogs. But it's exciting, isn't it? It's definitely some big games to look forward to.
Some very big games. Before we get on to France, I just want to have a look at the potential England team. So we saw them beat Jamaica quite convincingly, 7-0. This was the 11 that Sarina Wiegman decided to choose. Will there be any change in here, Kaz, do you think? Or is that her 11 to start against France?
No, I think Sarina will probably stick with that. She mentioned at the start of the Jamaica game, maybe the midfield, but look at the performances that Walsh, Stanway and obviously Toon had. So I don't think there would be any reason to do that. Maybe the question would be, we're all excited about Lauren James's return, but what I would say is England's aspiration is to get to a final. So that's 6 games. Don't rush her back too soon. Yes, I know it is France. I know you're looking at me, I can feel the heat. And yes, France are very good, but she is a weapon, whether she comes on for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, doesn't have to be from the get-go, in my opinion.
France have had their own problems, Laura, haven't they, in their own camp?
She's stirring it up there. She's stirring it up.
Tell us about those problems. Because their own manager has had some pretty bold decisions to make himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's the new manager. He used to be the assistant coach. He was appointed in September of last year. And so him talking to the team, he already talked to the player and say, I will need your experience. So he talked to Wendy. She's the main captain. She's a leader in the field. And he talked to her and say, I will need you to support the young players. But then, before the last camp, he talked to the 3 players, the major players, and he said, I'm not going to bring you to the Euro. It's been a shock for the players because they didn't see it coming. They had interviews with newspapers, with journalists, and they were already talking about them involved in the Euros. So it's been disappointing for them, really disappointing.
So it's more the way he handled it, because when you look at the players that he's lost, combined 444 caps between them, one of them the captain, of course, Wendy Renard, you talk about there, there's Summer Dali as well. He's come out and actually said he planned this for some time, and his quote was quite a big one. He quoted Einstein, and he said, look, insanity is doing something over and over and expecting a different result. But is it not necessarily the fact that he wanted to maybe have a change of the guard? It's the fact that he planned this for some time and didn't handle that relationship with the players very well.
Yeah, this is what is really hard for the players, to see that he didn't really share his vision. He has a plan to observe, and he say he was observing the chemistry of the players, and he say those players are able to emancipate themselves from those players. So Wendy Renard didn't talk. Kenzalali say she will be talking at the end of the competition. And Eugénie Le Sommer knew she was at the end of her career. But for Wendy Renard, it's a big shock, because she's been the main and major player.
Well, look, these are his results in 2025. You can't really argue with those, because they're pretty positive, aren't they, Laura?
Yeah, and it's proving he's right for the moment. The player has been able to win all the games. So when he announced the list, no one was criticizing him, because they were like, but he's right. And France haven't been winning with those players. And after the Olympics, there was some attitudes. People didn't talk too much about this, but I guess he knew what he was going to do.